Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Today we're going to explain the ending of Citadel Day more and a bunch of the major story questions that the map poses, because some of the stuff revealed here has massive consequences for the future of the zombies storyline. To start with, in order to understand the ending of the map, we need to begin with the mid-map cutscene, which you can activate if you're playing as Maya. So first off, you go over as Maya to this distress signal and you interact with it and then bluff your way into this secret entrance.
Oui, it is I, Chloe. Open the door, alone see.
Oh! What the hell is this? Once you fight your way through there a little bit, you'll go past two named ghasts, which we won't worry about here. I'll talk about them in a different story video, so subscribe for that one. And then you finally find this guy called Franco. Oh! A cutscene in the map? Okay. What?
Okay. The door should keep her out.
You think the door's gonna keep me out? You're insane. This is crazy. We have an in-map cutscene. Bro, the sword. Imagine the sword goes through the door. Oh, she blew it up, dude.
Oh.
This is insane.
Why won't you just fucking die? Wait! Killing me won't bring your brother back. You know he wouldn't want this.
Oh, she gave him the woods treatment.
This isn't for Nathan.
This is for me. Say it.
This is for me.
Oh my god! So what's the deal with Franco? Why does Maya care about him? Like, what's going on here? Well, let's rewind very quickly to Terminus. In Terminus, we meet Maya and Nathan. Maya and Nathan are both smuggling refugees to safe harbor in the Philippines and surrounding area, and one day, some of those refugees start going missing, and so they start investigating, and then Nathan, Maya's brother, also goes missing. So Maya tries to track him down and finds out that he's been sent to Terminus Island. This is an island run by somebody called Dr. Modi, who's in cahoots with a Dr. Richtofen, who's the director of Project Janus, which is this mysterious American organization that seems to have ties to both the American government, but also to Ethereum research and experimentation and all sorts of other clandestine operations. So Maya heads to the island to try and take down Modi and get her brother back. And unfortunately for her, midway through the Easter egg, we find out that Nathan is irreparably damaged and Maya has to put him down.
Do it.
Through this, Maya refocuses her efforts to take down Dr. Modi, and she successfully does so, or Patient 13, I guess, does that job for her. And then in the ending of Terminus, we learn a bunch of stuff which is super relevant to Citadel Day more. First of all, we learn that Franco, the head of the French syndicate crime family, is the one who sent Maya's brother Nathan to Terminus Island in the first place. Basically, Modi paid the French syndicate to send people to the island to get experimented on, and that's what Nathan got swept up in. So Maya's like, okay, I've taken out Modi, I better take out Franco now as well.
I'm in.
Enjoy your revenge, young lady.
And we learn that Franco's whereabouts are in Avalon, where the French syndicate is based, because they're actually based in the Citadel Day more. On top of that, the SAM AI tells us that Richtofen is potentially looking for a Sentinel artifact, and that might also be found in Avalon. And so we're like, okay, seems like it's a no-brainer to go to Avalon and explore this Citadel Day more, right? But the question is, what's the Sentinel artifact? And what does Richtofen want with it? So the Sentinel artifact was first introduced in the Chaos Zombies storyline during Black Ops 4. And basically, when you put a little sort of pin in the top of it, it creates a trial, which turns people into zombies around you and tests your worthiness to see if you are truly worthy of wielding Prima Materia, which is basically that universe's version of 115. And so now for the Sentinel artifact to be being mentioned again, it's very strange, right? But maybe if it's testing to see if you're worthy to control Prima Materia in Chaos, it could test if you're worthy to wield Ethereum powers or something similar in this new universe. And so maybe that's why Richtofen wants it. And so the characters head to the castle, and we get to Citadel Day More, and the events of the Easter egg begin. Now, at the very beginning of the Easter egg, we meet this guy called Gabriel Krafft in this little holding cell, and he says this.
You. I know who you are and why you are here. To obtain the Sentinel artifact, you will first need an amulet hidden in this castle.
That is more than I could get from him all week.
Listen closely. Our Oculus tools. I gave you the means to find the amulet. Now hurry.
So Krafft is not new to the zombie story. He first appeared in Vanguard Zombies, and basically he's not only a professor of the occult, but also of demonology, and he's basically forced to work with the Nazis during World War II and to work with von List specifically in order to do all the stuff with court effects that they do in that game that we're not going to get into in this video. It's not relevant, but he's forced into doing that by von List because von List is holding Sasha, Krafft's partner, hostage. And the only way that he can communicate with Krafft is back and forth via these letters that they can send one another. And then there's a twist at the end of the game where it's revealed that actually Sasha has been killed long ago and Krafft is actually all on his own and has been all this time. So Krafft has a really sad story in Vanguard Zombies, but at the time he's maybe, I don't know, in his 50s or something, and now, 40 years later, he's in this Avalon prison. So what the hell's going on there? Well, there seems to be some weird time dilation happening because Ravenov, who we meet in the intro cutscene for this map, and who's sort of looking over us while we play and talking in our ear, just like Peck is, he also has experienced this weird time stretching where he doesn't seem to age. And it feels like maybe the same has happened with Krafft, where he hasn't aged properly as well. Regardless, maybe he just looks amazing for a 95-year-old man. And so when he's in the holding cell, we talk to him and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, this seems legit. He knows that we want the Sentinel artifact. Great. And in order to get it, we now need to get this amulet. How do we do that? And the quest requires us to then basically interact with these 4 knights in this main knight's room here, and each of them corresponds to an element and an animal, and that funnels us through to charging this mystical orb and getting to the final step of the egg. So the question then is, who are the knights? What is the deal with them? Well, they were real knights in history, and each of the bastard knights was sort of the son, kind of, the illegitimate son of this guy called Guy de Saint-Michel, also known as the Owl. The Owl was around in the 1300s, and he was basically responsible for the demise of the Knights Templar, which is a pretty big accomplishment, and we do know that the Knights Templar sort of survived through other means, but that's a topic for another video. Again, subscribe if you want to see that video. But at least with Guy de Saint-Michel himself, he became the Owl. He had these 4 knights as his enforcers, and he always felt like they weren't fully worthy of his power and his respect, and so he kind of treated them poorly, but they stayed very loyal to him. And then when his sort of time came and he knew that it was time for him to move on and pass on to his next life or whatever, he basically set down this ancient mystical recording that we find behind this wall here, which is for one of his bastard sons to find and to sort of claim the riches that he left behind.
I knew you would be the one to find me. You were always my favorite. Was your arrival here heralded by your brother's corpses? Well done. A fitting end for wretches such as they. You must pass a final test if you wish to claim the obscure Citadelle. Only then will you be worthy of my respect.
However, there's one final challenge that they need to undertake in order to get those riches and to get that amulet, and that's to take out a golem that he constructed. And the history of this golem and the lore behind the golem is so fascinating, and I could talk about it for like an hour, but there's one particular message that I want to share with you that I think is so spicy. So this is kind of an incantation and a spell, sort of, that the Owl uses to construct the golem in the first place. He says, "My creation, my unfinished instrument, wonders and powers will be revealed to him who speaks. Incantations lie, mantras err, only speech is the key. Speech spreads in a mother tongue, formed by clay on its shore. The blood of the valley takes shape. For miles, white water flows through the northern forest to the sea. Security, power, and eternal life come from the awakening of the word. sleeping silently, ever on the lookout, the giant awakens to the call of the blood of the earth. So it really gives you this feeling of ancient, mystical magic, right? It's a total departure from all the Ethereum business that we're used to from Cold War. So that's very cool and makes me honestly sort of respect the owl a bit more because he's mixed up with some cool stuff. But while he's telling us that we need to take down this golem in order to get this final conferring of the amulet itself, the Samantha AI jumps in and starts telling us, hold on, just before we go any further, Krafft has been talking with Richtofen. Which doesn't make sense, because Krafft is imprisoned here by the French syndicate to get information out of him, and from the intel in this map, we learn that Richtofen has given the French syndicate information and sort of suggestions for how best to torture Krafft in order to get info from him. So Richtofen is helping them torture this guy, but then similarly, he has been talking to this guy in separate communication, like it's very suspect, right? And so naturally, it's like, okay, maybe we need to not trust Krafft, like we just found him in the castle here, maybe there's something deeper going on, but we go and we take down the golem and he's like, you got to get the amulet. Like that's the next thing that you got to do. So it all seems fine until we've beaten the golem, we've grabbed the amulet, and then Krafft's cell starts getting overrun.
Krafft, we need to know, what do we do with the amulet?
Take it to the excavation site. But beware the Sentinel artifact. It could consume you.
So this is insane, like absolutely insane that the excavation site is being mentioned, because if you're an OG Zombies fan, you'll know the excavation site is Excavation Site 64, which is Origins, the Black Ops 2 Zombies map, which is like a top 3 map of all time. So the fact that that's being mentioned here and that we need to take the amulet to the excavation site means that in the next DLC map, we're going to at least an Origins successor, like a spiritual successor, if not just an Origins sequel of some sort of description. So that's incredibly exciting, but somehow the twists do not end there.
And Richtofen, where is he? We know he contacted you.
Please. Please don't kill him. He is my son.
He's your what?
I don't think he knew he was raising a monster.
So it turns out that Krafft is Richtofen's father. And the backstory of this is as follows, because you might get a bit confused by it. Basically, I mentioned that Krafft and Sasha were in love with one another back during World War II, before Sasha was killed off by Von List. And Sasha really wanted kids. And Sasha is long dead at this point, but Krafft was like, okay, I want to still do that in Sasha's kind of name, right? For Sasha's legacy. And so he went to an orphanage and he found young Edward Richtofen. And Richtofen was still completely traumatized by the fact that he'd just found himself in this new universe, having popped out of that portal in the ending of Tag der Toten. And so Krafft took pity on him and adopted him and became his adopted father. And while he was adopting him and getting used to knowing this kid Eddie would sort of rock back and forth in his sleep and he would mumble and say things like, it's my turn, just like he used to say during, for example, the Origins end cutscene, right? Like it's his turn to play with the toys, remember?
You're getting everything wrong. I told you before their eyes should be blue.
It's my turn, Eddie. I can do whatever I want.
But you don't even know how to play properly. Girls don't know enough about zombies.
Put some toys away, children. Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
You'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
So the fact that now we're getting a reference to that basically in this map, like it literally says that in the intel, is insane. And it links to my theory video that I made about this 5,000-day-old mystery in Liberty Falls that also relates to Richtofen's history in the orphanage, which I'll talk about again in a second. So Krafft is Richtofen's father, but this now poses new questions, right? Why was Richtofen giving the French syndicate information on how best to torture Krafft. What the hell? Like, why would he torture his own father in that way? Or give them the means to better torture his own father? That's pretty messed up. But then, second, why was he then still in contact with his father through all this? And third, why, in a moment here, does Krafft say that we need to prevent Richtofen getting the artifact?
The Syndicate cannot be allowed to obtain the Sentinel artifact. It must never fall into his hands.
Like, have they had a falling out? Has Richtofen gone crazy? Has something else happened? What's the deal? And then we hear this from Ravenov.
And the dig site he mentioned. It is not far.
So again, this is an Origins reference because the dig site is what Origins is. It's quite literally the dig site, the mound, right? That's that central area in Origins. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to go to Origins in this next map and we're going to go down into the mound and we're going to see those 4 statues, just like in Origins, except now those might be the 4 statues of the stag, the dragon, the lion, and the raven, the new knights who are the sons of the owl. And we might even find out that those characters are this universe's version of Primus. So that might mean that there is a Primus floating around in the universe, right? And doing stuff that we aren't even aware of because we're, sure, part of Requiem, but Requiem are almost insignificant compared to what Primus might be up to. And that just poses questions of, hold on, does that mean that in future Zombies games, we could potentially play as those new Primus characters, like the stag, the raven, the dragon? Could we play as them, potentially, at some point? And could we experience all the stuff that they're experiencing with Guy de Saint-Michel, the owl, in his original time with the Knights Templar? I feel like there's actually a possibility of that. Like, they could go in that direction, should they so desire to. But also at this Origins dig site, we're going to find probably Richtofen and the Sentinel artifact and have some kind of big confrontation with him. And that would make sense because DLC 2 tends to be a little bit of a sort of mid-year kind of peak of the storytelling, sort of like how we saw with Ancient Evil. And so I'm so excited to see how that all plays out. But I mentioned a minute ago, right, this history of Richtofen in the orphanage and what the deal was with him as a kid and him being raised by Krafft. And I talked about this theory that I had. Basically, the theory goes that Richtofen is actually linked to a secret that was buried in Verrucht and then in Shinonuma and Deriz and all those OG Zombies maps way, way long ago. He's mixed up in this old mystery. And that mystery has new information presented in Liberty Falls. And it also links to like Dr. Monty. And now it links to the fact that he was adopted by Krafft here. Like they all come together. So if you want that full theory video, it's linked on the screen right here for you to click through to. And I really recommend you give it a watch because like old mysteries are starting to all come together and be tied up here. And it's really exciting. So click through and I'll see you there.